think I have a bad habit, which is I watch videos to listen, but also I also find a way to debunk the things they say. And right now it's even much more intensified because of my newly found spirituality. But I was watching a video about Omoji talking about him not liking to go home for the holidays and saying you probably shouldn't go home for the holidays. And he wasn't directly saying he doesn't like going home for the holidays. Although, if you watch the video and you listen, it sounds like he has a lot of unresolved issues with his family. Probably not nuclear family, probably extended family, or probably even some nuclear family. But it sounds like he has some unresolved issues, and I feel sad for him. But I think family is like the greatest, if not one of the greatest things on the planet. And if you have issues with your family, I think you should try and resolve the issues. You shouldn't just throw them away. And I know it's not easy, but I understand Omozi too because it is also quite time consuming. And maybe that is why Omozi has more money than me because the kind of person I am, if I feel like there is an issue with my family or I feel like there is an issue with my friends, I am the kind of person that would keep trying to constantly reach out and reach out and reach out till they drain me. And then I probably would just like take their no for an answer. But I'm not the kind of person to say, oh, if they have a bad energy, I should just leave them alone. No, I try, apply some pressure. I apply, like, I'm the kind of person to apply pressure. But I don't know if I'm right or if I'm wrong. Because the measure of the measure of how potent what you're saying is your ability to attain success. Although it's not necessarily true either because I could just be so much of a good person that I am not willing to do some quote unquote bad things that Omozi would be doing because I don't think he's a bad person, but he's a marketer and it sounds like he's just very, very profit oriented and not compassionate. And anyone can fake compassion on the internet. I'm not going to say that about Omozi because I don't know who Omozi is. And I watch his videos and it really helps. It really, really helps. So I can't say bad things about a person I don't know because then I would be a villain and I'm not a villain. But I just feel like you not being able to prioritize your family is a bad thing. And even if your family members are dickheads, you should still find a way to just, I don't know, help them through their decadishness. But I also understand that sometimes it is very draining because, bro, it is draining. Now, that is the truth. So, I guess it would actually make sense that you just find a way to leave people alone and just figure things out yourself. But it leads to individualism and it doesn't really lead to real growth. But Moses is a multi-millionaire. See, always going to be that. There's always going to be that factor of money because you can't say that you know so many things in life and you can't claim to be doing something right and you're poor. No. If you don't have resources, then what you're doing is wrong. But that is what we've been led to believe. Which is also not, it's not totally right, but it's not totally wrong either. If you are suffering, you are starving, you have the resources, then what is the use of your good attitude? And how do we know you are a good person? What if you are just a stupid person? What if you are just foolish and you don't know how to properly analyze things properly? You don't know how to prioritize situations. You don't know how to prioritize scenarios. So right now I'm stuck. because should I stop being Mr. Nice Guy? Because personally, I like to fix things. I'm like a caretaker, and I like to fix people's emotions. I like to rearrange things. If I see or I feel like there's a commotion going on amongst people, I try to bring them together. I try to cater to their emotions. But one thing I realize is all these people I try to bring together or I try to cater to their emotions, they are never really there for me in the long term. Like when it is time for them to help me, they do the bare minimum. Whereas when I'm doing mine, because mine is not financial, it's not like the bare minimum. Because bro, resolving people's emotions is much more daunting than resolving their financial issues. Financial issues, just make a bank transfer. Emotions, you have to listen to them, you have to talk to them, you have to even work up the courage, you have to say the right things because you're trying to help them. You're not just flowing in the conversation, you have to listen to understand them. And I know that I feel like I have some more spiritual awakening, but what is the use of a spiritual awakening that doesn't bring you resources or any form of advancement in life? That does not feel like a real spiritual awakening. Probably a form of spiritual setback that is trying to masquerade as a form of spiritual awakening, honestly. Because how can you say you have a spiritual awakening and you can feel God but you're poor? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't really add up. And I'm not saying money is the greatest thing in life, but it just doesn't make sense to be starving and be hungry and be poor and say you have a spiritual awakening and you are saying you know the right thing compared to a person that is actually living good and is making profit. Maybe he's just making profit at the expense of others. So why is your spiritual awakening not making you make profit at the privilege of you doing good things for others? Because if you can make profit from doing bad things, I think you should be able to make profit from doing good things. So I don't know. So personally, I feel like you should do the right thing, and even if people have bad attitude, you should do the right thing for them because the Bible says when you pour into people, you will be poured into. And from my spiritual awakening, quote unquote, I feel it in a form of sensation that when you do good things, good thing happens to you. Spiritual sensation, but I've not experienced it in real life. So financially, I've not experienced it financially. I've only experienced it as a sensation. So if you like sensations, follow my advice. If you like peace of mind, good finances, follow Moses' advice. I think you probably would follow Moses' advice. And I think I should follow Moses' advice. How do I grow? Because maybe I just haven't grown to the level of understanding how these things would also work financially. But all my days, it is taking too damn long. I'll be 28 tomorrow. Damn. That's, that's, that is crazy and scary. I'm 28 years old living in my parents' house. Still living in my childhood bedroom. Don't say still, you only moved back in last month or 2 months ago with nothing but a box and my computer. Moved back in, came back in. What's the difference? I know I should be a believer that says things like, oh, money does not matter. What matters are the things of the kingdom of heaven, the heavenly places, and good things from God, and your love for humanity, and people growing from you. Yes, But I think people can also grow from you and you still make money on earth and you still go to the right good places in heaven. So I'll tell you one thing. When you watch my videos, don't take it as face value. These are not facts because I don't have the resources to prove that my beliefs are the right ones. So I'm not going to try to mislead you. I'm not going to even mislead you. Because if my beliefs were good, then I should start having resources. I am not the best of people to be fair, but I am far from being a bad person. I'm very far from being a bad person. Like and subscribe. Shout out to Alex Omozi. I love you, man. No homo. I shouldn't have said that. That's too deep. What the fuck? I hope he's not racist. Well, most white people are racist.